I started studying jet fighters and stuff through the inspiration from Bob Simmons and Richard Kenvan's work with hydrodynamica, uncovering all this information about how Bob Simmons was an aeronautical engineer for McDonnell Douglas aircrafts in the 50s. So he's like
that's heavy.
Mathematical savant style, like, guy, like, who was a hermit and all this, like, not many people knew about his story, and it was not very publicized and forgotten in time kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, I was super inspired by all this, like, mathematical formulas that he wrote for his planing hulls, and I'm like, this is such higher level, like, engineering thought process going into surfboard design than anyone had ever done that I was aware of in surfing.
And were you looking, like, did Richard Kenvan have Bob Simmons notes and stuff? He had, like, notebooks and things.
Yeah, there's, like, notebooks and just, like, a lot of photographic journals and just a lot of stories from Bob Simmons' old friend John Elwell, who lived down in San Diego also. Mm-hmm. But to cut to the tail influence and how I come up with the jet fighter kind of style of tail, it was through the inspiration from Bob Simmons as an aeronautics engineer, mm-hmm. and how he applied thought processes and design processes of aircraft into his surfboards. So to me, at a certain point, I was like, well, if Bob was doing that in the 50s and looking into the aircraft design to inspire a surfboard, why can't I look at the most cutting edge aircraft of the modern era today and the military aircraft and go, well, what can I learn? What can you learn about foils or wings or wing profiles, and what can we learn from that that medium, mm-hmm. of of high speed aircrafts moving through air, and how that is so similar to a surfboard moving at, say, 30 miles an hour through water. I mean, there's some similarity of the velocities of the fluid, mm-hmm. that could potentially be have some benefit to a surfboard. So I started looking at the wings of the tails and going, wow, look at those angular diamond wing profiles to help these jets turn at high speeds and make radical maneuvers at high speeds, and also to reduce the drag on the aircraft, let the air release cleanly and crisply off the tail without any turbulence, Mm-hmm. So I was like, well, I'm going to do a tail like that. I want to do a tail that is reducing the drag of that traditional double pintail fish, which is kind of like a pretty high drag tail.
Yeah.
It slows the board. It kind of sucks the water a little bit in order to get control of that wide tail block. Mm-hmm. And it's functional, but I thought, well, if you can reduce the drag and get the board moving much faster, but still create a certain angle there that it holds, it allows the board to grip the water and hold through the turn, then that would be an innovation. It's a modern innovation of a Simmons design,
Today, the boards you built in 2007 still look futuristic.
Yeah.
If you look at that photo with Rasta, it still looks like
it's the same thing. It's not no different. Like there's some subtle difference in the overall design, the hull design, and the ratio of the width and the length and the rocker and a little bit of stuff like that, and the bottom contours have been evolved over that time, but mm-hmm. the tail itself is exactly the same, like as what I was doing in like 07, 08, 09. Mm-hmm. But the idea was sown through Bob Simmons' work, and then I've just gone about trying to understand it the best as I can through a variety of different studies of naval architecture, literature, and even to CFD programs more recently with mm-hmm. Riccardo Rossi and stuff like that, just getting as much of a grounding in the engineering sense of fluid dynamics and surfboard design as I can, with the influence of the aeronautical industry as well. The idea of the board was to release it as a keel quad combo. That was the goal, and it's pretty difficult to come up with an ideal fin placement that works perfectly as a quad and a keel.
Yeah. Because
keels are needed to be kind of pointed more straight ahead, like I was discussing with the low drag and hold mm-hmm. situation. So the old Tomo is kind of more of like a twin fin setup, but really a quad. Like it's a optimized quad. It's a semi-optimized twin fin. And who knows, maybe we'll do it as a straight up keel in the near future too. I think that would be cool to do it. But just for a consumer point of view, a usability kind of point of view, and a versatility point of view, the quad was kind of made the most sense to lead off. And the fin setup will work just fine with a good set of regular quad fins, regular templates. Just get the right size fin for your body weight, and a nice stiff set of fins, not too, like cheap,
not too twangy.
Well, you're not going to get like a high end sports car and put like some
Absolutely
bodgy
not.
rubber on it. You want to get some good fins. So as long as you get some good, nice, futures or FCFs or whatever you like, and just get some good fins. Or the fins I've made are specially designed for that style of board, so they're going to give that board an extra boost if you happen to be able to access my fins as they come online in the next few months. The fins there's quite a lot of work and development time in those too. Obviously, people are familiar with the hatchet style fins I've worked with in the past, and then further on from that, I've dug into like doing like twin tip versions of hatchets, so they've got two tips instead of one wide bulbousy tip, to give the fin a bit more like clawing and gripping to the wave, and enhancing the drive out of that wide big tip by like splitting up the surface area in the rear edge of the fin.
Is that a lesson you learned from the sci-fi?
Somewhat, yeah. I mean, it's understanding that I've developed through different tail shapes and feeling out different how water reacts to like surfaces, and if there's too much surface area, it wants to release, and if there's not enough, it doesn't create enough thrust or drive, or it's all about proportions.
Yeah.
And then it just made sense to kind of experiment with some different trailing edge shapes on a hatchet fin to give it more grip and more hold to the water, and therefore more thrust.